Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Liv Well podcast. I am your host, Liv Brand, and welcome back for episode 2. Today, we're going to be talking about our mindset, as the title of today's episode is Why Your Mindset Matters More Than Your Meal Plan. So, super excited. We've got a great discussion today. I realized last episode, since we had a guest, we kind of just jumped right into it, but I'd love to share just a little bit more about me on the front end of this episode. So I have my Bachelor's of Science in Kinesiology and Exercise Science, like I mentioned last episode, but super excitingly, I just finished my Master's of Science in Kinesiology for Integrative Wellness. So that is super exciting. I'm officially done with my master's program, done with grad school, so that is super fun and exciting, and I am very glad to be done. So I officially have that under my belt. Another thing about me is that I just got married, and I got married about a month ago. June 7th, so I live in San Diego with my husband. I'm from San Diego, and I would love to share more about myself. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask in the comments. I'll also post a questionnaire on Instagram again, inquiring not only about episode ideas, but also anything you would like to know about me. I'm an open book, so ask me anything. Speaking of which, thank you guys so much for participating in that Instagram questionnaire, those of you who did. We got some great episode suggestions from what y'all want to hear. A few of the things that are going to be coming up is going to be structuring workouts, what that looks like for your goals, and evidence behind how to structure workouts and what that looks like for whatever goal, whatever fitness goal you have. Next was hormone health. We will be diving into that a lot, and there's so much. Hormone health is so broad, so there's going to be multiple episodes covering hormone health and the different aspects of that. And then also pregnancy health. This is a really exciting and fun one. My focus from my master's program was women's health, and so pregnancy came up a lot with that, so I'm really excited to share the evidence behind pregnancy health and what that looks like holistically. So those are just a few of the episodes that are going to be coming up that have been suggestions from you guys. But today we've got a great discussion about mindset and why that is going to be the foundation of your holistic health, your habits, your lifestyle. So I'd love to just open up with a question for y'all to think about, reflect upon, maybe connect to a little bit. Have you guys ever told yourself that I'll start again Monday? Or have you ever felt like missing one workout ruined everything? Or that wellness only actually counts when you're perfect? Somewhere along the way, health and wellness became an all or nothing type of thing. We think we have to eat perfectly, work out perfectly, stay motivated all the time, or we feel like we're failing. And that is such an issue with the world and what the world tells us versus what is actually going on in our hearts and minds and bodies. With that being said, it's an important question to ask. Is your mindset the thing that's keeping you stuck? Well, today we're reframing wellness, we're reframing our mindsets, we're talking about what a healthy mindset actually looks like. And we're going to start with what we've been taught in the past. So we're going to be asking, what have we been taught growing up? Growing up in the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, whenever you had those peak childhood years, there's always been a time where people are preaching summer body, no excuses, you have to earn your food, there's good foods, there's bad foods. There's an extreme motivation culture that is preaching, you wake up at 5 a.m., you go for a run, you grind, you push yourself to the max, you go to work, you come back, you do another workout, you come home, you go to bed, you eat a healthy dinner, you eat a dinner before bed, whatever. But there is an extreme motivation culture that exists, and there's also that culture of detoxes and quick fixes. These are messages that women commonly hear, and I know from my personal experience I have heard all of these and have had them implemented in my life in one way or another. And that's just the truth about being a woman, especially a young woman growing up. And I've wasted my fair share of time and money. I've literally wasted hundreds of dollars on juice cleanses, detoxes, things that were supposed to reset my body and make me lose that water weight that I have in my body, and then thinking, okay, if I just lose this, then I will be on an even playing field, and I'll keep myself that way. I'll stay like that. But that's just never how it works, because it's a quick fix. It's a detox. It's never going to be long term. It's never going to be sustainable. And I think it's an important time in everyone's life to realize when our beliefs aren't sustainable. I realized that my beliefs weren't sustainable when I was making these decisions, but it was just so drilled in my mind that it's like, okay, I'm just going to do this one last time. I'm going to do this detox. I'm going to do this quick fix. I'm going to just reset myself one last time, and then this will be the time that it changes. And even when I'm thinking that, I know it's not sustainable. I know that it's never going to work long term. Yeah, I found myself always going back to it because it's just one of those things that is constantly talked about. But a mindset shift that changed my relationship with my health was actually drilling it into my mind that quick fix is not sustainable. Because it's always in the back of my mind. Once I actually faced the music, faced the facts, was vulnerable and honest with myself, I just knew it was never going to work. I knew my brain was stuck in this toxic cycle that focused on the earthly things instead of how the Lord was telling me to be healthy. I'd love to share, I've got my Bible here. I read this the other day and it just immediately made me think of this topic here, but Philippians 3:19, it says, "Their end is destruction, their God is their belly, and they glory in their shame with mindset on earthly things." Now, this really stuck out to me because I think it's so true to how we can get stuck in living today and feeling like it's the fix to how we're feeling. Our gods are in their belly, or their God is their belly. We hear preach, just listen to your body, just listen to yourself. Like, what does your body want? They glory in their shame. Just kind of like I was talking about earlier, I would understand that what I was doing was not sustainable, and I wouldn't feel good about it, but I would do it, and it was kind of like you martyr yourself. If your mindset is not for the Lord and you're doing it for yourself, you're putting yourself over the Lord. Verse 20 goes on to say, "But our citizenship is in heaven, and from it we await a Savior, the Lord Jesus Christ, who will transform our lowly body to be like his glorious body by the power that enables him even to subject all things to himself." Now, that is the truth of the gospel, and that is the good news that we get to look at today, is that those lies that we think about to ourselves, those messages that we often hear, they're not true. They're not true. And we get to take a deep breath today and remember that those things are from the world, not from the Lord. This moves on to the next point. We're going to look at the evidence, what the science says about behavior change education. Now, this is one of my favorite things that I got to dive into in grad school, is focusing on behavior change and why we keep starting over, why we always tell ourselves, okay, we'll start again Monday, or this is the last time that I'll eat this, and then never ever again. This is called the all or nothing cycle, and I'm sure many people have heard all or nothing thinking, but example of this cycle is you start off with high motivation. You finish off your cookies, whatever. You say, okay, I'm going to eat this all tonight because tomorrow they'll be out of the house, they'll be done, and I will never have them again. So you start off with really high motivation. You have extreme goals. You're going to say, okay, I'm going to go for a 5-mile run tomorrow. I'm going to have only protein, only veggies, only fruit, no carbs, no sugar. You have these extreme goals. You get, maybe if you make it a week, you get that far, and then you get burnt out. You miss a workout, you feel guilty, you quit, you'll say, okay, I'll start again Monday. The issue is the system, not the lack of willpower. There's so many behavior change concepts that we can look at, and I'm going to give you a few examples of these behavior change theories, because health and wellness is not a one-size-fits-all. There's some things that might work for someone based on their goals and their experience, but it might not work for you. So I'm going to give you a couple, and I would really encourage you to take a look at what your mindset is at right now and take some time Go for a walk maybe with no music, sit down in front of your Bible, read the word, and just be honest and vulnerable with yourself and just reflect on where you're at. What are you actually thinking? What beliefs are you holding on to that you might know that they're not sustainable and they're not healthy, but you're holding on to them because you think they might get you where you want to go? The first concept is small habits win. This is just taking those small action steps instead of trying to do that extreme motivation, extreme goals, and jump into working out 6 days a week, maybe when you're not used to it. Maybe you work out twice a week right now. Instead of saying, okay, starting tomorrow, I'm going to go to the gym Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Maybe a rest day on Sunday. No, take a step back, add one more day. Say, okay, instead of 2 20-minute workouts this week, I'm going to do 3. Even if it's not being in the gym for all 3 workouts, I'm just going to move my body intentionally for 20 minutes 3 times a week. It's that simple. It's the consistency that beats the intensity. So it's not intensity that transforms you, it's the frequency. We often want to be able to check off the mark of like, okay, I hit this weight, I hit this mileage. Next time I'm going to hit this mileage, I'm going to hit this weight. And that's great, but you can't keep adding every single day. It's the consistency that will build your base, that will transform not only your body, but your mind. And it can also scratch the counting itch to keep things in line. So instead of saying, okay, I ran 1 mile today, I'm going to run 2 miles tomorrow. That might not be realistic for who you are or where you're at. Instead, okay, I'm going to maybe run as far as I can on Monday. On Wednesday, I'm going to run as far as I can for the same amount of time. If it's more, great. If it's less, great. If it's the same, great. But that building up that frequency is going to build trust within yourself. Your body's not going to trust you if you're constantly pushing it to be more than it can do. Rather, frequency, you're doing something, you're building trust in yourself. The small wins build up and the intensity will increase itself. Once you build that consistent base, the intensity will follow along, I promise. The second concept is identity-based habits. And this, if y'all have heard, is the self-determination theory. So you're shifting from thinking, okay, I'm trying to be healthy, to thinking I'm someone who takes care of myself. I'm someone who prioritizes my health. This builds your autonomy, it builds your competence, and it builds relatedness with yourself. You get to, again, build trust with yourself about absorbing that identity of who you are rather than something you're just trying to be. The third concept is readiness to change and your flexible consistency. So this is where you meet yourself where you're at. This is another moment to just kind of take a breath, take a step back, and to be completely honest and vulnerable with yourself, to recognize where you're at. Maybe you're thinking about that change that you want to make, but you're not quite ready to get there. There's tons of back-end work that you can do that will get you there eventually. Maybe you're ready. Maybe you're ready to take action. I can link some resources to help you assess your readiness to change, because it is truly different for everyone, and everyone is at a completely different spot. So I will link that resource. But a healthy mindset says, what can I realistically do today? Now, of course, we have standards for ourselves. There's times that we're not going to want to do something, and maybe we have to push ourselves to do it because, again, we can't listen to our bodies all the time. We can't treat our body like it's our God. We have to listen to what the Lord is telling us. So what's something realistically you can do today? If it's just a 10-minute walk, great. Get outside. Get sunshine, get 10 minutes of movement. And often when you start with something small, you're able to build up on that. Sometimes when I am not feeling like I want to go to the gym on one of my planned gym days, and it's not like my body needs a rest or I'm sick, it's just that I'm lacking the motivation to go, I'll tell myself, okay, I'll walk over. The walk itself is about 2 or so minutes to my gym. I'll walk over. That in itself, I'm outside, I'm feeling the sunshine, I'm feeling like, okay, I'm happy to be moving right now. I get into the gym. I'll say, okay, I'll do just 2 lower body exercises. I do 2 lower body exercises and I'm like, okay, I feel like I could do 1 more. Maybe you do 1 more. It's when you start with those little nuggets, you often find yourself wanting to do more because you know it feels good. Your body is thanking you for moving. So maybe it's a 10-minute walk. Maybe it's just a quick strength session. Maybe it's making a balanced meal instead of ordering out or eating your meal prep when you want to say, whatever, I'll just go through the drive-thru. Maybe it's going to bed 30 minutes earlier because you woke up really tired this morning. It's those little things about meeting yourself where you're at and understanding a realistic thing that you can do in this day. So we're going to look at some wellness reframes. So we're going to think about those common messages that women often hear, like you have to earn food. Instead of that mindset, I have to earn food, it's a simple reframe. My body deserves nourishment. Now, this can be kind of hard to implement, especially if your mindset is maybe in a negative space, or maybe, I know we talked about it last episode with Zoe, talking about how it can kind of be woo-woo, looking in the mirror and saying those affirmations. But these little wellness reframes, again, meet yourself where you're at, do what you can do, see how it affects you. If you have this thought, you're going to reframe it. Instead of I have to earn that food or I have to burn off that food, my body deserves nourishment. Instead of I missed a workout, everything's ruined, it's okay, I'll continue tomorrow. Instead of I need more motivation, it's I need realistic systems, sustainable systems. What's realistic for me today? Instead of I failed, we're going to reframe that to I'm learning. I'm learning how to take care of myself. I'm learning how holistic health really works for me. So what sustainable wellness really looks like, it's flexible, it's imperfect, it's personalized. Again, like I said earlier, health and wellness is not a one-size-fits-all. What works for someone on Instagram who has your dream body and your dream life, that might not work for you, because they're also doing tons of stuff off screen that maybe they're not sharing, or maybe they're saying, this one workout changed my life. For sure, you can implement that workout, but you can't expect to look like them overnight. It's personalized. Sustainable wellness is consistent. Again, we're building that consistency, we're building that trust within ourselves. And it's supportive of our mental health. So, for example, I mentioned I got married last month. Right away, we went on a honeymoon. We went to St. Lucia. It's an island in the Caribbean. It was beautiful. It was awesome. We had so much fun. And we stayed at an all-inclusive resort. This was my first time in an all-inclusive resort. And let me tell you, I took advantage of that all-inclusive resort. And I was not living in my normal routine. I was taking advantage of every meal. We were taking advantage of all the drinks, all the meals, everything. And I could tell by day 4, I was not feeling my best. But we were having fun. I was not worried about what I would look like. I was just so happy to be in a beautiful place with my husband. It was such a beautiful time. When I got back home, I was like, holy cow, I feel like I just lost all of my progress, all my strength. We were there for a week. We did not go to the gym. We were active. We were swimming, we were snorkeling, we were playing tennis, but it's not like I was doing my normal routine of going to the gym, going on my runs, going on my walks, stuff like that. And I could feel my progress that I lost. And I could have been really upset about this. I could have said I worked so hard to get to where I was, to feel my best before my wedding. It was so important that I felt my best on my wedding day. And I feel like I really did. And when I got home from my honeymoon, I did not feel my best. And I could have been super upset that I lost my progress and regretted everything that we ate, everything that we drank, everything that we did. But instead, I chose to reframe my mindset. I chose to say I had the best week ever with my husband. What a way to start our marriage. It was such a blessing to be able to go to that place and stay in that resort. It was beautiful. And now I get to rebuild what I lost. And that is something that I really love, is a fresh start. I love new weeks. I love new months. I'm one of those people that love Mondays because it's the start of a fresh week. And I just chose to look at it as a chance to try something new. As a strength coach, I love to be able to test certain programs, styles of exercise before I give it to clients. So I always love to look at the lost progress, because fitness is such a roller coaster. We're never going to be at our peak all the time. It's going to go up, it's going to go down. We're going to have days where we're sick, we're going to have days where we go on vacation, and we're not going to be working out every day because we're on vacation. I love to look at these as chances, as opportunities to be able to try something new, maybe do a new program that I wanted to start, but I didn't want to break the cycle of my other program. I get to build up my miles again on my runs, and that made it flexible, that I get to personalize my new workout towards me, and it's totally imperfect. Obviously, I spent a whole week just enjoying time with my husband. But this wellness reframe was supportive of my mental health. Instead of being down about myself, I chose to look at it as a new opportunity. Now I want to invite you to reflect upon something. I want to invite you again to go for a walk, maybe think about these questions, maybe write them down in a journal, and journal about them. But I've got a few mindset reflections for you. Want you to think, again, be honest with yourself. Think about, what wellness rule am I holding on to that no longer serves me? What wellness rule am I holding on to that no longer serves me? Write it down, address it. How can you build a realistic system that removes that rule for yourself? The second is, do I approach health from care or do I approach it from criticism? Again, it's not going to work if you're coming from a place of dislike for yourself, discontent for yourself. And of course, we can have standards for ourselves. We can look at us and think, I'm not in the best shape that I can be at right now. That is completely different than punishing yourself and moving out of hatred. Third is, what perfect expectation am I ready to release? Do I need to eat perfectly every day? Is that what I think? Do I need to never miss a workout? Or fourth, what does your system look like right now? Are you stuck in an all or nothing cycle? Reflect upon that. What does your system look like right now? Moving on to our behavior. What habits feel sustainable for you right now? Where am I making wellness harder than it needs to be? I want you to give yourself grace, because that is such a true point. Where am I making wellness harder than it needs to be? I have the biggest sweet tooth. I love it. I have the biggest sweet tooth. If I told myself I'm going to cut out all sugar, that's not going to be sustainable for me. That's going to make wellness way harder than it needs to be, because there's food for the nourishment, there's food for the body, there's food for the soul. And I'm not saying eat as much sugar as you want every single day, but there are ways that I work with myself to make sure that I can have a sweet treat every day and still feel my best. Like, I have a Ninja Creamy, and I love making like protein ice cream, where it's literally just milk and protein powder, but I freeze it and I blend it in my Ninja Creamy, and maybe I'll put some chocolate chips on top or whatever. I love that, and it scratches my itch for a sweet treat, and it's amazing. And if I were to say, oh, no more sweet treats, no more sugar, no more things that bring me joy, why would I do that? Why am I making it so much harder than it needs to be? And then the third behavior reflection is, what would balance look like in this season? We're in a season of summer right now. The days are long, the sun is shining. We've got time after work. Maybe you come home after work, the sun is still out. What does balance look like in this season? While we have time, maybe getting out after work, getting some sunshine. Maybe enjoying the summer fruit that's in season right now. But just reflect upon those prompts. If you're on a walk right now, if you're on your drive to work, think about those. Now for practical action steps, we've got a couple options for you this week. This is your challenge for this week. Your first option is to replace one negative wellness belief with a positive one. So I want you to pick one of those reframes or create your own that you think about yourself. Instead of, I missed a workout, it's, I'll continue tomorrow. Pick one of those. Replace a negative wellness belief with a positive one. Option 2 is set one realistic habit goal that you want to establish in your life. Maybe it's walking 3 times a week. Maybe it's adding a protein to breakfast, or strength training twice a week, or prioritizing your sleep. Just choose one to implement into your life. Don't overload yourself. Don't overload your habits. Just pick one. Option 3 is to stop restarting and instead commit to picking back up. Again, if you miss a workout, it's not, oh, now I have to start all over. It's okay, I'm just going to continue. I'm just going to keep on going. Now, consistency has been a theme today, right? And many women struggle with consistency. But why? Again, it's not our actual motivation. It's not our habits. It's the system that we've implemented for ourselves and our foundation. So think about this. We, as women, we go through a roller coaster of hormone changes literally every single day. And that can literally affect our mindset every single day. And if our mind is not set in the foundation of the Lord, then it truly will change every day, and it'll feel like it rules you. Almost everyone can relate to that thought that, oh my gosh, my mind is literally ruling how I feel right now. Like, I am about to start my period and I feel it in my brain and it feels like it's ruling me. If our foundation is not set in the Lord, it truly will change every day. Now, what does the Bible say about consistency? If you have your Bible, you can feel free to flip to Colossians 1:21 through 23, but also just feel free to listen. But being consistent in faith is the number one step to becoming consistent with habits. Colossians 1:21, it says, "And you who were alienated and hostile in mind, doing evil deeds, he is now reconciled in his body of flesh by his death, in order to present you holy and blameless and above reproach before him." So that's 21 and 22. We were alienated. We were hostile in our minds, but Christ has made peace by the blood of his cross, and our minds are redeemed because of that. Don't live in the trapped cage of your mind that the Lord has already opened. Don't be ruled by your thoughts when the Lord has already set them free. It says, "And you who were once alienated and hostile in mind." Our minds are set free. It's what system are we implementing? Are we thinking about what the world tells us that we should think about? How the world tells us what wellness is? Or are we living in our minds in the freedom of Christ? So what does the Bible say about consistency? The Bible emphasizes consistency as a foundation. Being consistent in your faith is the number one step to being consistent with your habits. If you're not consistent with your Creator, what makes you think that you're going to be consistent in other areas of your life? Your inconsistency in your faith, which is the foundation of your life, is going to bleed into the other areas of your life. There are so many wellness myths that hurt women. Like, spend the most money that you can on the highest degree of wellness care that there is. Spend the money on those quick fixes, those detoxes. These are, again, from the world, not from the Lord. They're lies. The Bible lines out how we should live to live a life of wellness. Now, I'd love to make another episode on how the Bible says that we should eat, but there is an incredible book called The Biblio Diet. I have it here if you're watching the video. The Biblio Diet, it is healing secrets from the Bible. It has some incredible testimonials about these two men who both went through life-threatening chronic diseases and cancer, and they use the principles from the Bible of how the Bible tells us how to eat to literally heal themselves from the inside out. It is an incredible book. I would love to do maybe an overview of some of these chapters and kind of implement them into an episode about nutrition, but I'll link this book in the show notes. I 100% recommend it. It is such a good read, and it tells us exactly how we should eat, how the Bible tells us how we should eat, and how healing food can be. Just take a breath together real quick. This is my first solo episode. Thank you for hanging along. I've got so much fun episodes planned. A lot of suggestions from you guys that I'm going to be implementing in future episodes. And I hope you take away that your mindset matters more than your meal plan. If your mindset is not strong, if it's not realistic, then your habits are just going to fall right through the cracks. So take a moment today, reflect upon what your system is, what your mindset is, and think what rules are maybe you holding on to that don't serve you anymore. What do you need to let go of? What behavior change are you going to implement into your life this week? Wellness is not all or nothing. It's not one size fits all. Missing one workout or meal does not ruin your progress. Consistency matters more than perfection. Sustainable habits beat extreme motivation every time. Your worth is not dependent on your productivity, your body size, or any perfect wellness that you could possibly follow. I'd love to end with So thank you so much for listening today. Tune in for next episodes where we're looking at wellness without all the overwhelm, kind of quieting the noise of the wellness industry and focusing on what truly matters to live a healthy, holistic life and a positive lifestyle. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm going to be linking the Biblio diet as well as some behavior change notes in the show notes. If you would like to ask me any questions or suggest episode ideas, you can follow me on Instagram at the Liv Well podcast. I post some fun stuff on there. If you want to see any of my workouts or meals, let me know. I'm happy to share whatever. I'm an open book. Thank you for tuning along from episode 2, and stay tuned for next episode where we're looking at wellness without the overwhelm. And until then, live faithfully and be well.